First of all, I'd like to thank you for all the time you've invested already in going through this training course. I hope it's been a benefit to you. In this last video of our course, I'm going to be talking about how to close deals using the instant quote tool. I'm really excited about sharing some of this with you because it gets into a lot of the logic of why and how I created the instant quote tool in the first place. One of the things that I found with salespeople as they're going into the close and they've done a good presentation, they built up that trust and rapport, and the client has said that they're fairly interested in moving forward. Maybe they've asked some of those small questions to get those small yeses. But the problem is that when they get close to the end, they all of a sudden seem to realize that they're very unorganized, they're not prepared, they really don't even know how to move forward, they don't have paperwork ready to go. And so I think a lot of sales are lost at that, right at the finish line. It's like you're 10 feet from the finish line and you just stumble and fall over there because you don't have your paperwork ready, you don't really understand the products and services that you're selling. And so one of the things that the Instant Quote tool does is it really organizes all of that, and it's one of the main reasons that I built this object in our program called the program. Now, the program is really the foundation of everything that I built with the Instant Quote tool, because for those of you that aren't familiar with the Instant Quote tool, when you create your programs inside of your profile, that program combines several different things. A program is attached to a processor. So you could have one, XYZ processing company, and they might have 2 or 3 or 4 different programs. Now, the program has multiple things inside of it. Number one, it has what you would think of as your Schedule A. It has all of your costs that are associated. So you have, of course, your interchange pass-through cost. You'd have your bin sponsorship fee. You'd have your authorization, cost. And so, your settlement fee, your American Express, all these different costs. Now, those costs don't affect the pricing, but they affect your residual. They affect your compensation. And so we also have your compensation in there. What's your residual split? What's your upfront bonus, if any, on that particular program? So you might be with a processor that has one program that's residual only, and then a different program with the same pricing, but it has an upfront bonus and a smaller residual split. So those are programs. The program has what we have as minimum pricing guidelines. So each program you're putting in the minimum pricing. So here's the lowest I can go with that program. And so you'd have that minimum pricing in there. And that minimum pricing could be the processor's minimum, or it could just be your minimum. You're like, I price everybody at this rate. And so you have that stored in there. And for that particular program, that's as low as you're going to go. And so, you're going to have that in there. And so that's all organized together. So your Schedule A costs, your compensation, your minimum pricing, even your equipment and other fees that you would have, like maybe a monthly lease or rental fee on a terminal, something like that. All of that is contained inside of a program, one program. And so I did it that way because I really wanted to force the user to actually take a little bit of time initially to organize everything, because if you can actually organize it in that way, and if you truly understand the programs and the processors that you're offering to the merchant, and you've thought through it and you have everything done ahead of time, it's going to dramatically impact your ability to close, because you can then pair that program with the paperwork, whether it's a paper application or an online application from your processing company. You can then make a template or have like what I used to have when I was selling in the field full time. I would always carry around these 3 applications. Actually, I had 4. I had one that was blank, and then I had 3 that were pre-filled out. And these 3 that were pre-filled were the 3 different programs that I offered. I had one that was at 40 basis points and 8 cents with one company, and it had a VX520 with it. And that was like my standard program that I sold to 60% of the merchants that I talked to. And it was always the same. I would make a couple times, I'd cross something out, make a little change on there, but it was pretty much the same program every single time. Then I had another program that was the same, except that the pricing was a little lower, and that was for merchants that did over $30,000 a month in volume. And so I knew if a merchant does over $30,000, I pull out this paperwork and I choose that program, right? And then I had a third one, which was a point of sale system that I was offering. And so if they wanted a point of sale system, I had that one, and it had all the paperwork, not just the application. It had the equipment stuff. It had everything, pre-filled out as much as possible and ready to go. Okay. Now, with the Instant Quote tool, we now basically are doing this all electronically. And so you go in and you create these programs. Now, eventually, over the next 3 months or so, we're going to be rolling out a DocuSign integration with different processing companies, so you can have the integration of the online application. But for right now, even having it so that it can integrate where, you have your online application, your paper application, they don't integrate with our tool, but you can create a template that matches the program in the Instant Quote tool. And what this will do for you as far as closing the deal is that when you get to that finish line and you're about to step over the finish line and get the deal done, you're not scrambling to try to find the right paperwork and figure out which processing company to use and writing in the pricing and doing all of that, because you've already taken time initially with our team or on your own to create these programs and to make sure you know what the pricing is, you know what all of that's going to be, and now you're like, okay, I chose this program in the Instant Quote tool, so that was program A, so I'm going to pull out paperwork A, and that's already ready to go, and I just got to put in their business information and get them to sign the paperwork. So when you can get it down to that level and it's that organized, what's going to happen is it's going to have a dramatic impact on your closing percentage, because you're going to be more confident, the merchant is going to be more comfortable, and that's really what you want to try to accomplish. So make sure when you go to the Instant Quote tool, go to instantquotetool.com. Sign up for the 7-day free trial, and then, or if you're already in there, click on training up at the top. And so there's a couple ways you can add programs into the system. Certainly, we would be glad to assist you with your first couple programs. You can email support@instantquotetool.com. You'd have to send us your Schedule A and your pricing guidelines and that kind of stuff, and we could help you with that. Sometimes we'll already have programs built for the company you're with because another salesperson at that same company has already has the tool. And so you can go in and do that, or you can build them yourself. It's really pretty easy if you understand the basics of how compensation in our industry works and pricing. So you would just go to your profile in the upper right-hand corner, and you would click on the program wizard. And if you click on the training up there, there's actually 2 courses that my business partner, Ben Shirey, created that are screenshot courses that actually kind of zoom in and show you everything and say, okay, here's how you build a program, and it walks you through that. He'll walk you through that step by step, as well as, of course, how to use the rest of the tool. So in this training, I wasn't trying to get too technical with the details of how to create a program or how to create a prospect or how to create a proposal, because we already have that training in place. But I want you to understand how the Instant Quote tool fits into this new sales process, especially in this area of closing the deal for this video. I want you to understand that what it does is it organizes it, and it just makes it much more of a seamless flow. And again, over time, our commitment is to make it even better, integrating online applications and making that flow seamless all the way from hello to signing the paperwork, all inside of our application and all done instantly on the spot. So hope you've enjoyed this training. I hope that it's going to help you to make more money out in the field. If you have any questions or ever want to connect with me, just go to james@instantquotetool.com. Shoot me an email. I'd be glad to talk with you. Hope you have a wonderful day today.